Hi, and thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about teaching beginners and what you need to know as an advanced yoga teacher. Teaching beginners is not for beginner teachers. In fact, if you're new to teaching, if this is part of your 500 hour, I highly recommend you watch beginners but not teach them for a little bit. When we teach beginners, we have to assume that they know nothing. We have to assume that they're coming in completely in the dark. They don't know how to put their things away in a studio. They don't understand studio etiquette. Maybe they don't know how to use props and assume that they don't have any idea what Warrior One is and certainly not what Virabhadrasana One is. We have to really create an environment that's inclusive and beginner friendly. So this is how we do it. We meet them at the door. We always meet our students at the door with a smile and present awareness. When your students are walking into class, that's not the time to be checking Instagram or your email. Stay present. Be there for them. It's about their experience. As your student is coming in, introduce yourself. If they're a new student that you've never seen before, ask them if this is their first time into the yoga studio. Don't ask them if this is their first time to yoga. That might be embarrassing. I'm here to tell you that if it's their first time to yoga and you ask them if this is their first time into the studio, they will tell you. It will be something that they are going to proclaim so that you understand that they might not know what they're doing. Welcome them. Thank them for being there. Show them how to set up their mat. Let them know that they can leave their shoes in the cubbies outside of the studio, that there are blocks and props and blankets to support their practice. And if you're a teacher that likes to set your mat up to show students how they should set their mat up, let them know that. You might say something like, I set my mat up every time I teach so that students know what props to select. That way they don't have to get off their mat in the middle of practice to get something if they need it. You can grab 2 blocks and a strap and meet me on your mat. Try not to have private conversations with other yoga teachers when you're at the studio. Make yourself available for your students. Be open and compassionate. Stay off your phone and watch your students' bodies to see where they're at in their practice. A beginner is going to need to be cued very thoroughly and explicitly, and they might need you to demonstrate. A beginner might not have the proprioceptive awareness that a more advanced practitioner has, and therefore you might need to adjust or assist more frequently. Always ask for permission when you adjust and assist. Don't assume that somebody wants you to physically put your hands on them. Regardless of whether we're in a pandemic or not, nobody wants to lose their autonomy and nobody likes being told what to do, especially when it comes to their body. Ask them if they would like to have an adjustment, or if it's okay for you to move their arm or assist them with their positioning. Never assume. Beginners need a lot of visual and auditory cues. They need to see you. So it can be very helpful to practice on your mat when you're teaching beginners. I typically don't practice when I teach, but if I'm teaching beginners, I practice to help them to follow along. If you're teaching beginners, you're going to want to have a lot of patience. You might say things many times and they might not follow directions. Remember, it's not about you. It's about the student. Their comfort and ease is more important than anything else. Beginners are not the ones that are going to hurt themselves either. That's an advanced practitioner. An advanced practitioner will push their bodies to the limits and will overuse their joints. Typically, advanced practitioners are the practitioners that are injured more frequently. Ultimately, the best way to learn to teach beginners is to practice in your own home practice and cue yourself through as if you have no idea what you're doing. Don't assume that a student's going to understand what Warrior One means. They might come into Crescent Lunge and think they're in Warrior One. You need to cue the feet first, then you cue the hips, then you cue shoulder alignment, core engagement. This is how you work with a beginner from the ground up. At the end of the day, remember, your students are going to love you, and they're going to look to you to feel safe in their experience. The more that you can give them this, the more you can feel like you really are sharing the gift of yoga.